Hey everybody, I'm Magnus and welcome back to my channel. Alright, now I'm sure by the title of the video you know that we will be speaking about familiars. Now this is a topic which I believe has gained extreme popularity and momentum in the past several years, mostly due to the Salem witch trials and the witch trials that took place over in Europe between the 16th and 17th centuries. That also, during that time frame, kind of changed what the perception of a familiar was. Prior to that, the most, I guess, referred to books or times that it was mentioned or references to it were in the King James Bible, the King James Version. There are references to familiar spirits off and on after the King James Bible was created, was translated or created, but not very often. It was just a few little quotes, some folklore here and there about familiar spirits. But like I said, it really became more popularized around the 16th and 17th centuries. Since then, certain spiritual and magical paths have taken on the custom of working with familiar spirits. I know many Wiccans who work with familiar spirits in particular. There are other cunning folk and traditional witchcraft practitioners who work with familiar spirits. So it's something that's really vast, you know. Now, what is a familiar spirit? A familiar spirit is an entity or being that assists a practitioner in their magical workings. What type of magical workings, might you ask? Divination is probably a really good, especially starter point for working with a familiar spirit, because getting a familiar spirit, the way you obtain a familiar spirit is that you call for a spirit. In general, you call out for a spirit that you say you want to work with on a familiar kind of basis like that, and this spirit comes to you. You and the spirit connect. You make this connection, and if you make that proper kind of connection between you both, then you come to an agreement that this spirit will work with you, will work for you, and basically you will create a contract that says how long this agreement will last. So you can do a temporary agreement, whether it be days, weeks, months, decades, or you can do something even more long term. Some people have familiar spirits that they kind of pass down through generations, and that's because of either the contracts or the connections that they've made with these spirits. Now, I don't want to break anybody's heart. I don't want to make you feel unhappy, but I have to break it to you. Your furry little friend, or slithery little friend, or feathery little friend is probably like 99% sure not your familiar. The reason I say that is because the one thing that the etymology and history of the term familiar and familiar spirits has is that it's just that, it's a spirit. It's an entity, a being of that nature. That being said, it can't, you can't have just a cat or a dog or a feathery friend who loves you and loves being beside you and loves watching you practice and do that, but they don't actually assist you in your workings. That's not a familiar. That's a pet. You know, a familiar is an actual spirit that you work with. They live in the spirit realm. That's the purpose in working with a familiar. They live, or they exist in that realm. So they can give you guidance and all sorts of knowledge and information from that side, as well as, you know, helping you in your workings and divination and stuff like that. So it wouldn't really be, I don't quite know the word I want to use. It wouldn't be very practical for your pet to be your familiar if you're trying to ask for assistance in a divination working, or if you're trying to ask for assistance in getting some kind of knowledge or information from the spirit realm. Your pet's probably not going to be able to help you with that. Now, with me saying that, understand that you can house these spirits. Some people believe that, you know, your pet can house this spirit, you know, your familiar, without actually it taking over the mind and body and controlling this animal, this your pet. It's just basically like a kind of like a home for it, like a little apartment inside there. Some people do believe that it actually takes over it as a host. Some people do believe that familiars can come into a physical form, into a corporeal form. Really, this is up to you. I don't want to tell you what I believe you should believe. You know, that's really on you. The reason I do say earlier about not wanting to break your hearts or not wanting to hurt your feelings or whatever about your pets not being a familiar is because if you look at it in a logical aspect about what a familiar is, it's a being that works in the spiritual realm for you. Your pet can't work in a spiritual realm for you, you know. So even though I say that, you know, if you still feel like your pet is your familiar, then you know what? Your pet is your familiar. I'm not going to tell you otherwise. So, like I said prior, in the beginning of my video, don't let me or anybody else tell you that, you know, what your definition of a familiar is. And if I didn't say that in the beginning of the video, well, I'm saying it now, okay? I give you my definition, my explanation, my experience and perception of what, you know, this is, in this case here, you know, familiar, but it doesn't make it set in stone. So, like I said, do your research and get your own information and come up to your own conclusion on what you think a familiar is for you in your practice, okay? So, I think I pretty much went over what a familiar is and what it isn't, and I hope I was able to give you a little information, be a little informative for you. And as always, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, video ideas, just anything like that, feel free to leave them down here in the comments below. Also, somewhere on my page, I do have a discussion area, so if you just want to chit-chat over there and maybe leave some comments for the community in general, feel free to do so. Please give me a like and subscribe. I really, really do appreciate y'all doing that. It really means a lot. I just started this channel to get this information out there, just to kind of give people a starting point to understand that, you know, the stuff that people tell them is not set in stone. Make this path their own, you know. And so when I see people, you know, liking and subscribing and stuff, it truly brightens my day. It makes me know that, it lets me know that that information is getting out there, you know. So thank you, you know. Anyway, take care of yourselves. Be safe out there. I know there's a lot of craziness going on. Just try not to add to that craziness if possible. As always, be safe, be kind, and take no shit. Later.